TV again. We're expecting opening statements to begin this hour. As soon as the judge is on the bench, we'll get you live into the courtroom. Joining us now to talk about this one is federal trial attorney and litigator Alexis Rosenberg. She's in Sarasota, Florida, and former prosecutor and trial attorney Vonda Sargent, up early, as always, in Seattle. Good morning to both of you. Appreciate you spending some of your valuable time with us. Vonda, at first blush, what's your take on this case? And when you look at Shante Harden, he says, hey, I'm trying to get people who can't afford a regular funeral. I'm helping them navigate this process. You can go get your own death certificate, and this is my business. I'm not doing anything wrong. In fact, I'm helping members of my community.
You know, that would have some merit if after these people's loved ones' remains were cremated, he had actually given them to them and let them intern them properly. But the fact that there are 89 people who are in the basement of his church is quite problematic. And I understand it's not a part of the criminal trial against him, but it certainly doesn't look very good. It certainly doesn't support his contention that he is attempting to help people. It's macabre and just actually quite just sick to hold on to people's remains and not give them to their loved ones. So I'm not buying it. I don't think that he stands a chance of being acquitted, and rightly so.
Alexis, he's saying that those remains, those were my buddy Tate's, who had the funeral home, and he needed a place to store them. They were unclaimed remains. So as a nice guy, I let him keep the remains in my church. Is that going to fly?
Well, I don't think it's going to fly. I mean, here's the bottom line. There's 37 charges. It's not just those remains. I mean, we have fraud. We have corruption, which is the most severe of these charges, unauthorized use of a vehicle, bad check. So, I mean, even if we have that, not refrigerating a body. I mean, this is just egregious. So if those were being stored, as he was saying, and that they could actually show that, that's only really a few of the counts. The bigger and the more severe, like I said, is the corruption and its overall business practices that seem to be as detailed in the indictment.
Vonda, he chose last week to go to a bench trial, saying, no, I don't need a jury. I want you, Your Honor, to decide this case. How does that change what we're about to watch together here on Court TV? We've seen some other ones. There's less theatrics in the open. There's, because everybody knows the case, including the judge. Give us a sense of how a bench trial works and how different it is from a jury trial.
It's going to move a lot quicker than a jury trial will work. There won't be sidebars. There won't be a lot of interruption. The fact that the judge knows the rules, knows the laws, and gets to make all of the rulings contemporaneous to this testimony, it's going to move a lot quicker. It's not going to be like you mentioned. It's not going to be, there'll be no theatrics. There'll be no gotcha. There will be nothing that will surprise any of the parties in there, because the judge will have made all of the pretrial rulings, will have made all of the decisions on what evidence is getting in and what evidence isn't getting in. So it's going to move rather quickly, and it's going to move very smoothly. And it won't be as interesting for the layperson to watch than as it is when there's a jury, because no one's trying to impress any jurors with any of the, like you mentioned, the theatrics of the case. So it's going to move quickly, and it's going to move efficiently, and it's going to move, I think we'll have a lot of very distinct legal arguments that will be being made, and a lot of very distinct legal opinions that will be ruled on immediately by the judge. That would be the big difference.
Alexis, what goes into that decision to make, if you or your client or both, at the end of the day, you're like, you know what, we should go with a bench trial here. How does that happen? What do you look at? Is it the judge's record? What do you think went into this decision?
I agree with you. They do look, one of the factors is the judge's record. But in this particular case, I think it's, do you really want this to go before a jury. I mean, the facts that we have heard so far, it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. I mean, these victims were going through a very emotionally trying time with the death of their loved one, and now to be put through this. So I think that the decision really is based on the fact that we want to focus on the elements of the crime, the actual law, and they think that that is the best chance that they have if we focus on that the prosecution isn't going to be able to prove the elements, and that is the best case. So emotion, as mentioned before, is taken out of the equation.
Vonda, one would think that the probability that the defendant takes the stand drops dramatically in a bench trial because you're not trying to just catch a juror, and a judge, one would think, inherently has a BS meter that's pretty tuned in.
Right.
Do you expect him on the stand?
I do not expect that he'll take the stand if he listens to his attorney. I expect that he will take the stand given his interview that he gave after these instances of his malfeasance came to light. So I think he will take the stand. I think that he truly believes his story. I think he truly believes that he was helping people. I think he truly believes that he's educating the public. So I think he will take the stand for no other reason than he believes his own story. And he's going to want to convince the judge that, in fact, what he was doing was helpful to the community. So I think we can anticipate seeing him on the stand.
Well, that would be great because there's a lot of explaining to do in terms of how all this came about and what his intentions were. We're going to step aside, take a break, and we're expecting the judge, who's also the jury in this case, to be on the bench momentarily.